Now, let's head into our first session. I would like to welcome on stage Marilyn Okoro. Marilyn is a British track and field athlete winning a 4x400 meter relay at the 2007 World Championships in the athletics and the Beijing Olympics Games in 2008. Round of applause as she walks on, please. She grew up in northwest London, Stonebridge Park, one of the most vibrant yet deprived boroughs in London, and believes that her diverse background in sports is reflected in her versatility in athletics, with her personal mantra being dream audaciously big and never give up. Over to you guys.
Awesome, thank you, Will. Welcome, Marilyn. Let's just give a round of applause for her achievement. So we wanted to start this conference with a session on high performance mindset. And the truth is, when you're being intentional about your careers and about your journey, you have to have a high performance mindset. You have to take it like it's a competition, it's your life at stake, this is reality. You have to give it your all. So having Marilyn here is so exciting because we can learn directly from her in terms of that mindset and what it takes to get all the way to the Olympics. I did not make the Olympics, but I was an athlete. So let's give her another round of applause. So as a professional athlete, talk through the type of training you had to do to get performance ready and what kind of self-talk was involved.
Oh, you're taking me back. First of all, sorry to interject. I just have to. It's Black History Month. The theme is saluting my sisters. Can you join me in saluting my sister, who's such an inspiration? God bless you, sis. So, those of you who don't know, I ran the 800 meters, and it definitely ran me. Because, you know, watching athletics, it's all about the sprints, 100, 200. But the 800 is the ingredients I had. I'm from northwest London, Brent, big up Stonebridge, so I really feel those streets made me tough. I ran the 400 a bit, but my start was never there. So my training was a mix of speed, yes, but a lot of endurance. But it was about how you apply the endurance. Now, I'm a black, muscular sprinter to UK athletics. However, I needed to last 2 laps, so we had to be very intentional about how to apply this endurance. So for me, it was multiple repetitions. We're talking 30 times 200 with 30 seconds in between. I did do cross country. I hated every single second of it, but my mindset was such as, when I go out there, I want to put on a good show, and if this is what it takes, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So I love the term champion mindset, which I believe everyone in this room has. You have to be willing enough to go there, access it, and really maximize it.
All right, let's talk about 30 times.
Yes, regularly.
Like, again, talk about that, like even just waking up in the morning, knowing that you have a grueling session, knowing that you're not going to see the results straight away, but actually, hopefully, later on it will come. What kind of things did you have to tell yourself to kind of get into that mindset?
Gosh, self-chat was so important. Hills was actually one of my staple sessions because whilst I was very strong, going in the gym and hammering out weights wasn't very economical or smart for what I needed to do on the track. So hills was a great way to get that strength in my muscles.
What is hills, just to basic?
Yeah, so hills is when you find a slope, and anyone who lives in London, we've got some hills, and it would vary. So I would do 30-second hills, I would do minute hills. Sometimes it would be 3 minutes up a hill, a steady incline. Sometimes we would measure it in meters, so 100 meters sprint. I was someone I would never be sick, but it's the session that everyone would be sick after. But I knew, what better way than to carry your own body weight at speed up a hill? And also, I think there's a sense of accomplishment, metaphorically, getting to the top of a hill, for me, finishing a session. So some of those sessions might have looked like 3 sets of 3, so 9 in total, 60-second hills.
Oh, God.
But you break it down, take it 1 set at a time, 1 rep at a time, and just hit your target. And that's the way, I would really get through some of my sessions. One of the things is 800 meters is a great, fantastic race. It's the training. If you can get through the training, the 800 is just a party when you get to the race.
And let's talk about that, because everyone here, they're in their careers, right? Maybe they've been in the same position for a while, or they're not able to enter the career that they want, or they're doing so many training courses and they just feel like this is long, or they've got a family as well and they're back at school. There's so many different dynamics that everybody's going through here. What kind of things can keep them motivated, knowing that the goal is at the end and that this right here is where the training happens?
I think every morning when I woke up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., knowing I had a session, I was thinking about the Olympics. I was thinking about the World Championship. So you've always got to have that big vision that motivation? What is your passion? What's going to get you out of bed, even on the days you don't want to get out of bed? Because trust me, I did not like training, but I love to race. So why are you doing it? What is your why? And then who's going to be there with you? Who's supporting you? Who's encouraging? Who's your accountability partners? Because there were days where I was like, I don't think I'm going to make training. And I had someone on speed dial like, see you at training. See you there, if not outside my door. But also just knowing that it was what I was talented at. This is my God-given ability. And it was a dream that I had from a young age. And I owed it to no one else but myself to see it through.
I love that. And I think that's the key thing to take. Yourself, that accountability for yourself. No one else is watching you but you. No one knows where you truly want to be, right? They see you today, they see you as you are, but they don't know your potential, your ambition, but you know it.
Yeah.
So you owe it to yourself, right, to put in the hard work, to go for it, no matter what it takes. I was reading something that said that in the difficult times, it's like you're fermenting, like grapes. You're fermenting, and it takes a long time. You know, grapes take about 21 days to age. But at the end, you've got that sweet wine, right? So I guess that's for everybody else here. Like, you're fermenting, you're in this period where you're trying to understand what's going on. Yes. But at the end of it, it's sweet wine, but you have to keep that fermenting going and you have to keep pouring into yourself. So something I like to say is that the difference between sports and like business is that in sports, there seems to be this bar. Like, if you're not, you know, Usain Bolt, if you're not LeBron James, then you're nothing, essentially. You're not the champion, and everyone looks at you like, oh, you're not the GOAT. But in business and career, success is relative. Yeah. You know, what's your thoughts on that in terms of the standard for careers versus sports?
I think it's the same, but the thing is with sport, it's the media, you know, put out there. And so I think, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not LeBron James, I'm not even Serena Williams, but I was in the Olympic Village with all of those people.
This is
and I learned that from a young age. I always talk about having an audacious confidence. I know it's my faith. But I went to a boarding school where I was the only black girl in the room for many years. I wasn't from money, but I was there breathing the same oxygen, getting the same better grades. And so I said, I belong here. Same thing with the Olympics. A lot of, you know, early athletes, when they go to their first major championship, they're overall absolutely, you know, be inspired, respect everyone, but fear no one. And you have got to focus on your lane. I always talk about, I'm going to slay in my lane because I got 2 laps to do. If I start letting getting distracted here, there, and everywhere. And I think it was just hard because if you have a bad day, it's in front, and I had lots of bad days in front of millions and thousands of people. And people are so quick, especially with social media, to come and say, why did you run like that? Well, it was not, you know, on purpose. The goal is always to win. And so it's about how you're going to respond to that, if you even need to respond to it. So yeah, there's
so much to dissect there. So let's even look at the competition side of things. So if you're there looking left and right, you're not going to run your race properly, right? So what kind of things do you have to do in that moment to not be worried about competition and understand that you have to run your own race?
So as much as we train the physical, the mental for me was always the most important part. I think my natural ability to do sport was always just there. And it was just about maintaining that. Once I got into the elite realm, and I really don't like that term anyway, once I got into the elite realm, it was really about mindset, because you're running at an Olympic final with 7 other girls that have trained hard, got the best trainers. You know, what's going to separate you? It's your mindset, it's your champion mindset. And for me, I knew that I needed a plan before I got to the track, because anything could happen. I personally fed off the crowd, so I enjoyed it. I didn't mind having a go, Coro, let's go. Loved that, actually. I had to smile because it reminded me to relax. A lot of people were like, you're joking up there. Like, Bolt is very intentional about his pre-race game. And for me as well, smiling, being happy, being content and peaceful, because I wanted to find my flow and I needed to get into it as soon as the gun went. So I would often use the sponsor boards and just try and think about what I wanted to feel like. I'd break my race down. I've got 8 times 100. How do I want to feel at each stage of the track? And before I even got to the track, the night before, I will do that visualization. The morning of, I would do that visualization. In warm-up, I would do that visualization. So once I got in there, if anything did come and knock, because the 800, it's a contact sport, let's be real. So if I'm getting a barge, you know, I would quickly be able to default back to, okay, this is where I should be because I'm at the 200 mark and I need to be rhythm, kick over, let's go.
Wow. So that self-talk, that mental, you know, mindset, that is what it takes, right? You have to visualize where you want to be. So you are here right now today, but actually, where are you in 5 years' time? Like, you actually sit still and you visualize yourself, then you can start that path. You can start feeling the feels of like what it means to get to that future version of yourself. And then you also mentioned in terms of like just sorry, like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Can I just add something?
Yeah, go on.
It's about being anchored to your vision and your dream, because things will come in life to throw you off. But if you know and you're anchored, you will always find your way back to that main purpose and that goal.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point I wanted to make, right? I feel like this day and age, a lot of people see other people's success and like, oh, I should be there. They want to skip the process. They want to, if you now want to be Marilyn at the Olympics, you think I should be there, are you going to do those hills? Are you going to do the 30 times?
I'll train you.
Make the trade, right? But everyone just sees that because of social media and think I should be there. But it's hard work, and we all have to invest that hard work into ourselves. I want to talk a bit about the attainment fallacy, right? So this is when you're always focused on the next goal and the next goal, and you never actually enjoy the moment. So what do you make of that? And how can those today enjoy the journey they're on whilst aiming for the top?
Attainment fallacy, it sounds wonderful. New vocab. It is very real. And I retired 2 years ago, and I felt like a failure.
Wow.
I was like, everyone was like, but you got a bronze medal at the Olympics. You're a world champion. I was like, what is it doing for me now? I can't pay my rent. I don't care. I was calling every line, oh, I'm depressed. They're like, literally, the lady was like, but love, you're an Olympian. Like, I was living in Wigan. I was like, all I could hear was my mum, what is running? Running is not a career. I didn't send you to school to run. So wow. I was in a place of not gratitude, that's for sure. Wow. Because I didn't have a next. Yeah. I was so focused for 20 years on Europeans, then Olympics, then Worlds. What was next? And I really wanted to finish on my terms. And we know in sport and in life, often that's not going to be the case. And I wasn't prepared. This is why so much of my work now is in transitions out of sport. But you go through so many transitions in life. And I wish I started with the end in mind.
Wow.
So that attainment fallacy, it definitely was something that stopped me enjoying my career. Because one thing that did happen was when I retired, when I hung up my spikes, the outpouring of love and respect and adoration from all over the world that I had no idea, because I never stopped to appreciate it. I never stopped to celebrate my little wins. I was just, wherever running I needed to be for running, I was there. If I needed to go to Florida, I was there. Miami, New York, Wigan, I was there. Even Wigan, I was there. Even when you run a PB, you step off the track and you're like, okay, right, next time I need to do this, and you don't ever stop and say, whoa. And I started to reflect, because I was in a period where God definitely sat me down. And I was so reflective. And initially it was anger, because one thing is running was such a coping mechanism. And I would just put everything on my back and run. And that's how I let out aggression and anger. When I couldn't run, because I didn't want to, first and foremost, I was like, in lockdown, everyone was running. I was like, why are you running? Don't do that. Like, stop. It mashes your body up. And I was reflecting. And what I would do is watch a lot of videos. And I was like, wow, you were it, girl. Like, right. I did not appreciate what my body was doing, what my mind was taking me through. Because there was a lot of races where, really and truly, I had no business winning. But because of my mindset, I was able to achieve things beyond even imaginable. So, yeah, that attainment fantasy, it's actually a bit of it's a dream killer a little bit. Yeah. You have to learn to be in the moment and celebrate the wins along the way, because actually it's about the journey. It is, yeah. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely understand all of that. I always say, like, when I look back at my journey so far, so I did javelin for Great Britain. I got to NCAA Division I at University of Florida. But I did not appreciate any of it. Let me be honest. I was always thinking, I need to throw further. I need to do better. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm on this scholarship. I have to prove myself. There was never a moment where I just took it in. It was only after the fact that I was like, oh wow, I was in Florida on a scholarship. They said only 1%
that's
of 1%
a big deal,
get it.
Guys,
like,
that's a big deal.
I didn't even at the time I didn't take it in, and I regret not taking that in, right? And that time is rolling even now for everybody. Tomorrow will come, the next day will come. Appreciate the moments right now. Well done on where you are in your careers today, right? Some people in your family maybe never even graduated, or even if you didn't go to university, they never even earning the amount you're earning today, right? So like, just take all of that in. To be happy with the family that's around you. You never know the last moments. Like, no matter what, even though this is all about intentional steps, there has to be intentional steps as well with your mindset, with your enjoying the journey and just knowing that, life rolls on. So I think I want everyone to just take a moment and just think about that. Like, let's clap that we're even here today, that you even took intentional steps to be here today.
Celebrate yourself.
And I want to push on a bit about that, right? Because like I said, there's so many routes to success, but hard work and resilience, sprinkle in opportunity and luck, is a constant theme in all industries. You have to work hard, you have to be resilient, you have to know the right people and network. But this is a very much era of soft life and rewards without sacrifice, and like, I don't need to do anything, give it to me. That kind of energy is what is really online. So what advice would you give to those in need of a mindset shift to know that it's not all soft life?
So I run an internship program, so I know all about this. Any of my interns in the room, sorry, but I gotta say this. Like, there is something, and I believe a big shift happened because of COVID. But there is this feeling where, obviously when we bring the interns in, we want to, sweet them and make them feel special. But there was this kind of overwhelming feeling that they just wanted everything for nothing. And I'm sorry, the secret is hard work without due talent that doesn't want to work. Period. There was no way I could have run 800 meters without the graft, the grind. The track humbles you, that's one thing. Track and field, athletic sport will humble you because there's nowhere to hide. And if you simply haven't done the work, you're not going to get the results. And I apply that to everything in life. I was fueled by the word no a lot of my life because right from Stonebridge, I was never supposed to get off the estate. The very real conversation people were having was just have a kid and get a council flat at the age of 12, 13, 14. That was the aspiration. That was what everyone was supposed to aspire to. But I just believed there was more out there, and by the grace of God, I went to a boarding school and that showed me that there was a lot out there. But even still, even when I got into athletics, I wasn't the right shade. I wasn't the right build for 800, but why not? And that's why I spent so much time in America, because I just saw people like me that run the 800. Like, I wasn't big, but to them, I must have been a whale. Like, you're too heavy, you're too this, you're too that. I was like, but my running is doing a lot of talking right now. Even the sports scientists, they were like, oh, well, according to this, you should run 210. I said, that's nice, my time is 1:59. Big difference. So when are we gonna start seeing what makes me the great 800 run instead of trying to put me into someone else's box? Because that's what was happening. Why aren't you running like Paula Radcliffe? Because I'm not Paula Radcliffe. So yeah, it's...
Wow. And before we go, we do have Q&A, so please do submit your questions, just use the QR code. But before we go on to Q&A, I want to talk a bit about the black tax, right? So this is a reality for many people in the room today, where, like I said, you might be trailblazing in your family, you might have to be sending money abroad, to your parents or just to family, wherever they are. And pretty much, you're not seeing the fruits of your labor. So you're working hard, you're earning money, but you're not even seeing your money because it's going to everybody else but yourself. How can they maintain a high-performance mindset whilst putting self-care and self-preservation in the mix?
Wow, what a question. And I know this because I've burnt out so well, so I speak from experience. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. There was a lot of expectation on me from very early. You heard me talk about my mum. She is a strong Black Nigerian mama, and they're not easy. But the eldest, you're basically second parent, and bless my mum, she had a lot of stress in her life, so I filled those shoes as best I could. But I realized when you grow up that quickly, there's a lot that you're missing, and so coming into adult life, it did affect my relationships, it affected how I acted. So first and foremost, it gave me that drive because I was just fueled to support them and not end up back where I started. Ironically, I did. But, hopefully in a place where I could help them. But I realized also when I was very drained from the world of sport and going through my mental health battles, I couldn't help anyone unless I was a full cup. So it's remembering to fill up your cup, set those boundaries, and it's okay to say no. So I was fueled by no to a point, but then I had to learn how to say no, because not everything served me. Not everything was working in my favor. And at the end of the day, if I'm not okay, the people I'm trying to help are not going to be okay. I'm going to be pouring out toxicity onto them. So it's really remembering that you do have to put you first in order to work from or give from an overflow.
And I feel like people really struggle with that. I mean, even I struggle with that, right? But you do have to put yourself first. You have to really think about, should I say yes to this or should I say no to this? How does this serve me? How does this make me happy? If I now go, will I leave feeling very frustrated? I mean, there's so many things that I've done or that I do, and I'm like, why did I do that? Like, you know what I mean? You're just there, you're angry in your room on your own, just like, no one forced you, So
who sent you?
Who sent you? So you do have to really take care of yourself to take care of others. Let's go into Q&A. Are there any questions in the room?
Couple. Also, if you hadn't had a chance yet, please do scan the QR code to pop your questions in. But first question I've got is for Marilyn. How do you motivate yourself after a bad day, and what advice would you give to a young woman just getting started?
Oh, how do I motivate myself after a bad day? I tell myself there's always tomorrow. There is always tomorrow, and the fact that you've even attempted and tried, deserves celebration. But the idea is not to condemn yourself, because this is how we learn. If you feel like, obviously a bad day for me is, oh God, I failed, I haven't achieved something, there is always another opportunity. We need to reset, refocus. Perhaps that wasn't for you anyway. I always say, rejection is redirection, delay is not denial. And for getting started, you've jumped in. Be brave, believe in yourself, and just have your vision and your plan, your dream. Dream big, smile bigger, and don't give up.
Love that. Thank you. Another question we've got here is, sorry, let me just find it. It was about the visualization. So someone's asked, could you please explain more about visualization and how exactly you did that?
Absolutely, yeah. So I didn't work a lot with sports psychologists because they didn't really understand me, and a lot of the issues I had were off the track. And I remember my first session with a sports psych. She was like, I can't deal with anything off the track. I was like, you can't help me. So I had to really work myself through this. And for me, I spend a lot of time in prayer and meditation. So that helps to ground me and gets me into a place of calm, because I struggled a lot with anxiety and racing of the mind. And when you add that to 800, it's not a good combination in the last 200. But with visualization, one thing a cognitive behavioral therapist did teach me is that I literally have to see myself doing the thing that I'm trying to achieve. So for me, running my whole entire 800-meter race. And if I stopped or went wrong anywhere or it didn't go according to my plan, I would start again. So I would feel myself on the start line, all the introductions, how am I going to wave to the crowd? My name, wearing my number 4. I often didn't get that number. But literally, on the track, in my favorite lane, how was I going to push off, after the gun's gone? What was I trying to feel like? What was the sounds? What were the smells? Literally doing that. And quite often, I wouldn't break where I wanted to be, so I'd go back and do it again. And that's literally just teaching the brain that this is how you want to feel at this stage, and then all the way. And the goal is to win. So if I didn't win the race, for some reason, it's crazy the way the mind works. If I didn't win the race, we did it again. So yeah, I would never spend more than 40 minutes, if ever. And the more you do it, you shouldn't really have to. And also I noticed that when I was in tune with my training and just kicking off those 2200s, 3200s, that visualization was easier. Whenever I was injured or particularly fearful or nervous about a competition, then that visualization would be hard. So I had to spend a little bit more time nurturing it.
Oh, they're all coming in now.
I knew this wasn't a show, really.
Another question here is from a fellow athlete. I compete in Olympic weightlifting.
Come on, bless you. More strength.
How do you deal with not hitting numbers that you should be hitting? I've lifted those numbers before. Patience. There's a lesson in every situation, every storm. So there's something that's not clicking, and you need to just get your inspector hat on and find out, really dig in with your team if you've got a team around you. If you haven't, get a team around you. Are you getting enough rest and recovery? Often when you're plateauing, your body is really, it's kind of done, and you need just a little reset. For me, it was always, I would burn out. So I'd be on these kind of 3-month cycles, and then I would burn out. So something needed tweaking, and I had to just be really smart about finding it. And sometimes it's the smallest tweak. It could be a dietary tweak. It could be I'm not actually recovering, because athletes are very bad at this. Recovery day. I'm just going for active recovery. Recovery is recovery. There's no active about it. Go and eat cake. Go and spend time with your loved ones. However you can relax. It's really about relaxing your system and the hormones, not just about maybe just being still. In fact, maybe a light walk is fine, but especially in the endurance world, I'm just going for 30 minutes. Why? Rest. It's okay. Thank
you. And if we put that for people in their careers, right? There's people who are going. How do they rest?
So now I'm in the corporate world. It's even worse. Especially my mayor's colleagues. I'm like, do you come offline? It's almost 4:30. We need to wrap this up now. Don't be putting a cheeky call at 4:30. I won't be answering. I'm very task-orientated, so I do have that tendency. I want to just get this last task done. I want to might as well start the next one. But again, each morning I set myself, what
what am I going to be happy with accomplishing today? And that's my priority. And then everything else is a bonus. But I have my cutoff point, and that is it. Bloop.
Boundaries. I think we've got time for a few more.
Okay. Next one is, what is the key to setting yourself apart from others in the same position as you?
Oh, I love this. I was on my Instagram preaching the other day about comparison. It is the thief of joy. So what helps me in athletics, because you can have imposter syndrome, you know, oh, they got the latest Nike super shoes. I don't even have a sponsor. Tesco is my sponsor. They went on warm weather training. That's okay, but you're there. You're there. You've got an opportunity the same as them. What are you going to do with it? I always say respect everyone, but fear no one. If you know you've done the work, give yourself the best opportunity. Do not set yourself back with your mindset. Champion mindset is about being willing to do whatever it takes. And if you can honestly say to yourself that you have done that in the lead up to achieving whatever goal it is, then you've done your very best. You've been the best version of yourself. You don't know what others are doing. It's, you know, especially in this day and age where it's just a highlight reel everywhere. Not many people are brave enough to be vulnerable and tell you the real, tell you what the grind really looks like for them. So comparison is a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. You can be using that time to big yourself up. Like literally, it sounds crazy. I would be in that mirror and tell myself, you are great, I love you, go girl. You have got this far in spite of a system that didn't want you here.
Wow.
So I deserve to win. And whatever happens, happens. All I can do is control the controllables.
Wow, I love that. And I just want to jump in there. Remember Coco Gauff, when she won, she said, I didn't pray to win, I prayed to do the best that I can do. And I love that. Like, some of us go, oh, God, please give me this. But really, no, please let me do the best I can to receive what I need. And I think that mindset will help you know that, okay, I might not have won, but I did the best I could have done. Yeah. And that's the key thing there.
Like Coco, my prayer was always, God, have your way, and may it be your will. And he knows the desires of my heart. And if it was something that was going to glorify him, which more often than not I did my best to do, then that was the result I was happy with.
We took it to church.
Oh yeah, I'm going to take you all to church.
We've got one more question, I think.
Love that, and I think that answered quite a few other questions actually around mindset. But there is one here about interns. It says, you mentioned interns and setting that graft mindset. How did you translate that to your interns?
I put them on lots of presentations. I put them in front of lots of leadership because they would then want to do the work to impress. I love coaching and mentoring. So one thing I would make sure I do is every single intern that came on the program, I took the time to get to know them as best I could. 12 weeks flies. And I would ask them what they wanted out of this internship. And we would come up with a plan to ensure that at least by the end of the 12 weeks, they've hit those goals that they set. A lot of the time it's fear that holds people back, and fear is really just kind of delaying you from getting to the thing that you really want to achieve. And also I realized that they didn't know any different. So it was for me, with my experience, to tell them different. So I just put them in front of a lot of leaders that would share with them that, hey, it's hard work. You're gonna have to, work hard if you want this. You're gonna have to go out there and get it. So networking is my absolute favorite. Your net worth is your network, basically. So I made sure that they were really interacting as much as they could globally within the company. And that alone is work. So.
Awesome. I think we're out of time. Are there any final words when we talk about intentional steps, high performance mindset that people can leave with today?
Be intentional about you. Be intentional about your vision. Life is all about being purpose-driven. And I think when you don't have a plan or a vision of where you're going, you'll just go anywhere. And it's about standing for something, unless you'll fall for anything. So I just wish you all the very best. You have a dream in your heart. It's your dream. You owe it to no one but yourself to see it through. God bless you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Marilyn. God bless you.